Good morning and welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I do apologize about being a little bit late. A little bit of a late breakfast plus some extra coffee equals we're ready to go today. Now, it is Saturday. I did say that we were going to do some speed duel stuff, so we are going to do a Tier 2, as requested, Gravekeepers deck. First things first, we are going to be using the skill card that allows us to essentially have Necro Valley, but only a name. The way that this works, at the start of the duel, place this card in your field zone and then flip it over. So this will activate as a field spell from moment 1. So as soon as the game begins, this is flipped and activated. Everybody should know what you're playing. And unlike in the Master variant of the game, we're not going to get all the big bonuses of Necro Valley. In fact, we're not going to get the 500 AD. We're only going to get 200 AD per Gravekeeper. And then this card's name is only going to be treated as Necro Valley. So we do not actually get the effects that protect our discard piles or the overwhelming stats. That said, a tricky player, a skillful player, is still going to dance around all of the rules, and we're going to do that today with a 23-card deck. So again, a little bit out of my normal comfort zone, but it's worth it, guys. So our first big boss card is going to be the Gravekeeper's Assailant. We're going to run a full flight of 3. When this declares an attack while Necro Valley is currently on the field, we can target a face-up monster that the opponent controls and change that target's position. Why would we want to do that, guys? Why would you ever want to change battle position? Well, let's take a card from last week. Let's take the High Tide Gyojin as our opponent, okay? 1650. Probably could. Well, I mean, you're going to beat it because of the whole this is plus 200. Let's pretend it wasn't. Just being able to switch it means that it'll go from attack to defense. Now it's going to register the 1300. Again, we might have yet another scenario where we have another larger card sitting, or another card that we can't beat. So there might be one of these and an Empress Mantis. We could attack the High Tide Gyojin while switching the Empress Mantis itself to defense mode. This would still be a very legal motion. Again, at that point, you'd probably take the higher attack and go after the one that's going to have the higher of the 2 defense values. But hey, that's neither here nor there right now. It's just letting you know that technically speaking, Gravekeeper's Assailant gets a little more pick and choose of the field. Next up will be our first tribute monster to be the Gravekeeper's Chief. Now, I'm only going to run 1. Historically speaking, from my own experiences, anytime I play 2 of this gentleman in my deck, and then I draw them both, I lose. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. It's because I'm a terrible player, and the restriction on this card actually hurts me. But it's always been an omen for me. So the way that this works is that you can only control one of these face up at a time. So again, similar to how Goes in Match and Rivalry of the Warlords would try to prevent you from playing something outside of your attribute or typing, even though you're tributing into something else. Having a Gravekeeper's Chief on the field and going like, I want to tribute Chief for Chief to get another spawn back is never going to work, so don't even try it. Instead, when this is played, your graveyard will be unaffected by Necro Valley. And again, the fact that Necro Valley will not affect the discard pile doesn't really matter too much in Speed Duel, but again, since the card is legal moving forward to the advanced formats, they do have to write the Chief properly, and hey, they might give us the field spell proper later on. When this card is tribute summoned, and this is the best part, target a Gravekeeper's monster in the graveyard, special summon that target. So again, what he would normally do is null out half of Necro Valley. He would null it out for me. If I want to use Monster Reborn or what have you in the advanced format, I could. In this instance, it's just going to be like, I don't want to sacrifice the board position for my Assailant, so I'm going to tribute the Assailant for Chief, bring back the Assailant. If the game has gone on longer, there may be more or better options for me, at which point you will do those as you go. And yes, since it will count once he's on the field, that's when his effect will technically trigger. Yes, even the monster tributed is a valid target if there were no other monsters in the discard pile previous. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we need one that's just a hair stronger. So we're going to play 2 copies of the Oracle. Now, a couple things about the Oracle. Number one, he's got the Ancient Egyptian God cards in the background, which is pretty slick. Number 2, he's got 3 different effects, and he's actually really cool. So, first thing, you can tribute your choice, 3 monsters, or you may tribute 1, but it has to be a Gravekeeper, to tribute summon, but never set this card. When this card is tribute summoned, you can activate any of these effects and resolve in sequence up to the number of Gravekeeper monsters tributed for its summon. So, generally, I'm going to be tributing 1. Obviously, it's allowing you to get all 3 effects if you choose 3. You could tribute 2, and I do think that if you use double costin to activate as double tributes, I think that since it's still just a single monster, I don't know how that would resolve, guys. Maybe hit me up in the comments if you guys know. But let's go over the 3 effects, and I'll tell you which 2 I use the most. First effect, gain attack equal to the combined level of all monsters tributed for the tribute summon of this card from the field to times 100. So again, if you tributed 3, this is a good effect. Since I never tribute 3, guess which effect I don't use? Number 2, destroy all set monsters the opponent controls. And again, if you want to play a lot of like floodgate trap holes, since you can run 3 of them, yeah, this could be really cool. And then last one, this is usually the one I go for. All monsters the opponent currently control lose 2,000 attack and defense. So essentially, at least in Speed Duel, this is going to open up for a large scale, like you turn the tide of the turn and sort of go for like a semi-OTK-ish moment. I do apologize if you heard my dog. I think a squirrel just ran by the window. I'm not sure. It happens. Next up, we're going to run 3 copies of the Gravekeepers Recruiter. And again, I do like to have a monster where we could just sort of set and pass turns. So this guy's going to fill that zone. If this card you control is sent to the graveyard, and again, this is going to be the tribute for the chief. What you get to do then is add a Gravekeepers monster with 1,500 or less defense from the deck to the hand. And again, so you can go grab another recruiter, you can grab your oracles, you can grab your chief, technically. You can grab your assailant. It all depends on how that turn 1 went out. Plus, he's got a respectable 1,200. It'll be 14 with Tomb of the Pharaoh active. Last monster, probably one of my favorites, is going to be the Shaman. Gains 200 defense for every Gravekeeper's monster in the graveyard. Not different names, so just different, copies. Could be 3 recruiters, that'll be 600 defense. Negate all monster effects that activate in the graveyard except Gravekeeper monsters. And while Necro Valley is on the field, your opponent cannot activate field spells. Also, field spells cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. I do try to get this girl out there just as quick as possible in order to protect our Tomb of the Pharaoh. And it's actually kind of crazy how well we can do this. So again, those are the monsters. Let's get into the spells now, right? So far I haven't used any of my limit slots. Because again, remember, this is tier 2. So I'm going to burn both of the times 2 slots. We're going to add 2 allures. So realistically, if you guys wanted to drop this to like a 20 card deck instead of 23, what I added at the end of the build was adding the 2 allures and another oracle. So I actually went from a 20 to a 23 card build. That just real quick would be like the quick mod. Or again, get creative, guys. You're all wonderful, smart people. I know that you guys will figure out an even better method than mine. It's just I only have a few days in between each deck to play test and everything. So, like, I don't always get it 100% right. I get it close sometimes. But, yeah, Allure of Darkness, again, we got plenty of dark monsters. Should never have a problem with the draws. Plus, since we're not drawing for our field spell, since it's a skill card, we're gonna be starting off pretty right. Burning into our 3-ofs, I do have one of the Book of Moon. My second 3 is going to be a copy of Cosmic Cyclone. To pair off with the Cosmic Cyclone, I am using a Cosmic and Night Beam, because again, Night Beam hasn't been limited yet, because it's, not as good. It's going to get there. I give you guys another list or 2 before you guys abuse it enough to where it's legit. And then instead of extra books, I am going to be using my offerings to the Doomed and Shrink. And you know what? This might be another thing that you guys do. You might just drop the offerings to the Doomed. You might drop both of these. And if you do, that's fine. Just get creative, okay? Moving into the traps, and this is where things start popping. We do have the Double Lost Wind. Again, a lot of the Gravekeepers are pretty weak as far as just not being all-star, like super beat sticks. And again, not having the full power of our own field spell in this format does tend to hurt us just a smidge. So again, Lost Wind during the GX era, you know people are going to be playing heroes. You know there's going to be like evil heroes and some more fusions coming out here in just a couple of months when we get the updated next box. So again, Lost Wind definitely finds a home in this deck. Plus, you get to reuse it. So maybe you drop a Lost Wind and you drop in Offerings. Maybe. Next card, and this is just as fun as using Magical Hats was, Magician's Circle. Now, I thought about preparing, and I honestly thought I had a breaker sitting on the table over here, aside from this, and it does not appear that I have done so. So I'm going to keep looking while I'm talking. Magician's Circle does some pretty cool things. Found him. And what it does is when any spellcaster declares an attack, it could be mine, it could be my opponent's. Generally, it's going to be mine because I'm going to go pressing for advantage. Each player special summons a spellcaster with 2,000 or less attack from their deck in attack mode. Guess what, guys? That's every character that we're playing in our main. But if you're not playing spellcasters and you're just playing good tech, you can force your opponent to play their breaker. This is not an optional summon. This is not each can. Each player special summons one. We used to use this. I used to use this a lot during right as the beginning of Monarchs and everything, as we were transitioning out of Chaos back in the day. And I want to say it was more like into like Reaper and Afterward formats. And I would be able to drag out my opponent's breaker. I would be able to drag out my opponent's Magicians of Faith. The only one we couldn't drag out back then was Tsukuyomi because guess what? She's not able to be special summoned, only a normal summon due to spirit rules. So what you were able to do with Magician's Circle is just essentially just go to town, put in the work, get some of your bigger monsters, generate the shaman faster. And again, since you have all these cool effects like the Book of Moon, the Offerings, the Shrink, the Lost Winds, she is going to have a little more power. She is going to be in attack mode. So she's going to be a little vulnerable, but she still has a strong 1,500 defense and attack value. So she's going to stand tall at 17-17 to start. And honestly, if you can't get her to survive, the next card's going to help. But this is what's going to allow you to maintain your Tomb of the Pharaoh and why we're able to develop all of this stuff so quickly. Last two cards, 2 Walls of Disruption, if you guys couldn't guess. Obviously, I've fallen in love with this trap now. So I will probably be using just the living tar out of it. I enjoy it. When the opponent monster declares an attack, all attack position monsters lose 800 per monster that the opponent controls. So it could be 8, it could be 16, it could be a full 2,400. And again, that means that her opponent has to be stronger than Obelisk the Tormentor in order to get through while we have Tomb of the Pharaoh and 3 monsters on the opponent's side with a Wall of Disruption. And again, remember, Shrink's still in there too. So, like, you're going to be able to do some crazy stuff, guys. Real quick, for my friends on mobile and or tablets, go ahead, take a screenshot. This is the main deck. It is, like I said, 23 cards. So do with that information what you must. And in a second, after everybody's done with their notes, I would appreciate to show you guys the side and the extra decks real quick. Although some of you probably already guessed it. So just one moment. So leading the charge this time, just to mess you guys up, I'm doing the side deck first. It is going to be our third 3-of. It's going to be our second copy of Cosmic Cyclone. No clue where the focus went. Let's see, can we, there we go. Got some focus back. We're going to have our third Lost Wind. 2 Waking the Dragons. Big surprise, right? Third Wall of Disruption. Not a surprise. You guys probably know my 1-of Zoma is going to be in here. So this also marks the first Tier 2 deck where we actually used full-on portions of all 3 sections of the limits. So that's kind of cool. And then our extra deck is going to be the same powerhouse lineup of Blue Eyes Ultimate, Cyberblader, Cyber End, Ojama King, Ryu Senshi, and Thousand Eyes Restrict. And again, they're just good stuff cards. I believe I've covered each one of them, maybe except maybe Ryu Senshi and Blue Eyes Ultimate, as far as Speed Duel Spotlights. So each one should have like a quick 2 to 5 minute video featuring why they're good and which ones we thought were coming. Because again, I wasn't sure that we were going to get the Ojama King, I think it was. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. That's the deck, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have, consider supporting the channel. It's as easy as a like and a comment. Maybe we've earned your subscription today. If we have, fantastic. Welcome to the tribe. If we haven't, hey, look, there's tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Speed Duel Sunday. I'm going to have 2 decks. We were also requested for, let's see, it was called Hero. Well, I'm calling it Hero Gate. A Fusion Gate inspired tech hero build. And it was requested for tier 1, but since I'm getting into the whole tier 2, we're going to do both. We're going to start off with the casual build tomorrow, and then we'll give you guys the competitive one just a little later in the day. So for now, my friends, I do hope that you've enjoyed this. I do hope that you go out there and enjoy the rest of your day and start your weekends off right. I hope that you guys get to pencil in a little time for yourselves, because you guys are worth it too, okay? Just because you gave me the time of day to come here and check this out doesn't mean that you guys aren't worthy too. So you guys go do some fun stuff, all right? I'm going to get back to work. I got to get these other decks. Basically, I need to get them videoed. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.